Hello, my beloved friends and family. Welcome to this video. I'm really excited to share with you about womb energy and the process that we go under to fully collect, receive, and embody the wisdom of our womb. And how can we go through a process of intuitively connecting with its energy, the life force. So I'm really excited to get that going. But before we do, I just want to let you know that I am going to be hosting on the 12th of February. And if you're watching this on a replay, this is going to be something that you can rewatch as well. So this is going to be a womb initiation ceremony. We're going to be diving so much deeper into this topic that we're covering today. So I invite you to come into that space so that you can learn about it and actually put some practices into motion so you can feel, sense, and experience what this is like for you. Because the thing is, it's so different for each and every one of us, how we experience the intelligence of our womb space. So I'm inviting you to come into that experience, to hold that space for you, to feel it, to embrace it, to realize it for yourself. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's talk about it. And this is a phase, the first phase that we're going to talk about is about release. Now, for many of us, we have gone through childhood conditioning, programming, belief systems that basically limit us from truly experiencing and expressing our divinity, from knowing our truth, from being connected to our divinity and our intuition. So deep within us lies the information, lies the wisdom and the knowing of how to move forward in our lives, what to do to protect, heal, and uplift and be in optimal vitality. But because of the conditionings, we tend to go forward in our lives using conditionings of this is how you should do things. There's societal norms that are actually really bad for us, but we don't even realize because we're so used to that. And a good example of this is when I was younger, I wouldn't have said I had a really bad upbringing. I would have thought that I had a really good upbringing and I had a lot compared to most people, maybe because I thought I had a roof over my head, I got fed. If I needed new clothes, I could have new clothes. I wasn't restricted like that. My family went on holiday and these sorts of things. But as I got older and started to really see the trauma that I was holding on to, and I actually started to understand that there are a lot of things actually about my childhood that were not normal and not healthy. And sometimes we think that we can have a good healthy life because we have the norm standard of health and well-being in terms of having food on the table and a roof over your head. But that doesn't mean that you actually had a trauma-free life, because you have schooling and how teachers treat you, how your parents actually treat you, and their mental health and well-being, and how that influences and affects you. It will affect how your programming of how you navigate life. And for a woman, when we come back to the womb space here, it's that this is, and actually even for all beings, this isn't really just about women, because we do, all of us hold within the womb space or the pelvic bowl area, hold onto energy, emotions. This hip area, sacral area is how we get, and our root chakra is how we're perceived and how we're seen in the world. But if you have a womb space, it is this portal, this container, and we end up taking on other people's things. We end up taking on systems and beliefs within this space to navigate this world. And we think that if I navigate from this world, I can find safety here. Of course, we can even grow up with things like childhood trauma in terms of sexual abuse can even happen from childhood throughout our teens and beyond. It can happen at any point. And we end up holding on to that information within our womb, within our cellular memory, and it creates restrictions in how we project our life force energy. We try to hold and hide our life force because we don't want to be perceived as a sexual being and open ourselves up to predators. This is a big one. So many different things here. So I'm just covering over some very briefly here, and that's what we're releasing. And we go through a phase of wanting to let go and pour out all of those things. It can even be as such of the belief systems of how we perceive what our body looks like, how we perceive our menstruation, because oftentimes with menstruation, women get this idea that it's gross, that they're disgusting, that they need to hide it, that they need to get rid of it. That's why people end up going on contraception where they don't have a cycle. All these different things that maybe we start to do to our body. You may find yourself even going down the route of having a hysterectomy. Just know that you still have that energetic womb. You're still a woman who's had a physical womb as well at some point. So there's still going to be energetic healing that needs to come into play. If you've ever looked into some of the sciences, that if you ever remove organs, there's always that, they call it the phantom organ or phantom limb, when people have their limb taken off and they can still feel that limb, okay? And that is because there's still this energy there, actually. It's not even just about this idea that you used to have and now you don't, and then you can feel it, but there is this energy imprint that is still there. And if trauma has happened into those areas, then we need to go back into those spaces to still heal that, because energetically, that is what is vibrating there. And we want to shift the vibration and create new healthy patterns, new vitality. So this is where we come into cultivation. And we're going to be talking about cultivation. We're going to be going through some practices during the ceremony about cultivating. How do we cultivate our life force energy? How do we cultivate the blueprint or the energy prints of the energy that we want to project out into the world, that we want to hold and embody within ourselves? So this could look like how we interact in relationships. Do we want to create new healthy patterns so that we can have better communication, so that we can feel more intimately close and safer in those relationships? It comes from with us first. We don't want to go out thinking that we need to try and create that through every kind of relationship that we're having, but we haven't dealt with that within ourselves. So we learn how to cultivate that from within. Cultivate a new relationship with the womb space throughout the menstrual cycles. Maybe you're going into menopause, so you want to learn how to cultivate that relationship. Because again, even I didn't mention earlier, menopause, there's such a stigma on menopause and how that looks, what happens to us. Women feel like they can't handle themselves, the world around them, they feel embarrassed or ashamed when they start having menopausal symptoms like hot flushes, for instance. And we want to come into self-acceptance. We want to release that shame and those stigmas that limit us from truly just honoring phases and cycles of a womanhood, and how beautiful that can actually be, and sacred, and the powers and the gifts that actually come with that. So that's where we're cultivating the wisdom teachings, the gifts that come from this. So that's cultivation, a very important part of our process to bring in the new, to create and blossom that new way of life and expression that we want to emanate from within us. And then also cultivating a relationship where we are not then shaming those parts that we're releasing, that we're coming into a deeper sense of acceptance with those parts. That is also a new relationship that we're cultivating as well. So of course, then we want to, I'm calling it the relish. This is the celebration. This is what so often I think gets missed out for women, is celebrating their bodies, celebrating their menstruation, celebrating their womb space, having devotional practices, having sacred ritual interwoven into their lives. This isn't about just doing it for this ceremony on the 12th of February and beyond. This is about you living your life in that devotional space. And that doesn't mean that it's such a arduous sort of amount of new things to try and upload into your life and fit into all the different things that you have going on. No, this is about understanding how you cultivate that beauty, that devotion, that ritual, that sacredness into those mundane things, into what is already existing within. You're already going to have menstruation. You're already going to be going through menopause or premenopause. And it's about how do you switch up that experience and making it more of a devotional practice, showing up with spirit in mind, with your heart in tune with what is happening. Coming out of your head and coming in tune into your intuition as well, to lead you through these phases of your life with a space of wisdom and reverence and joy and excitement for what is occurring and what is happening and what is transforming in your life. And that is when things start to really change, because this alchemical process that you're undergoing, you're releasing, you're cultivating, and you're really creating a whole new experience, a whole new world and a way of being towards the different things in your life that maybe you took for granted. Maybe you dismissed them before. Maybe you start to become more sensitive and aware of when these things are being honored and when they're being disrespected in your life. When is your job, when is certain people in your life, when have you yourself dishonored the fact that actually this is just a way of life, this is just a part of being a woman, and is the natural ebbs and flows. How can I recreate my environment, my outlook, and how can I create more safety in my life so that people start to respect that, start to honor that? How can I weave that in and help to create a deeper understanding without having to be a pushy, what's the word that I want to use, standing up there with a big pole trying to protest that you need days off on your moon time or your bleed. It's not about trying to say doing that. It's about actually being really holding of that energy and that frequency, and being able to be open to discuss those things quite openly with other people that maybe they go, I understand, and we can see that this is what she needs right now. I'm going to respect that, because you are able to lay that out in a beautiful way of communicating it and understanding and embodying that within yourself, that it gets openly respected. If we come in with this almost pretense that we feel that people are rejecting that, then it creates more of that, right? When we actually hold the fact that we feel respected and embodied, because that's what we're holding for ourselves, we're creating that for ourselves, and that's a boundary. People can't cross that boundary anymore. So that's a really important thing. Now we have something that is then going to be woven. Once you really fully understand this, you'll want to weave this into everything as well. And this is what I call the offering. This is when we become the offering to life. We become the offering to the divine, to the beloved. We are holding this vibration so deeply within everything we do. Again, this is like you go to bleed and you call in divine, heavenly energies and earthly energies, and you cultivate that wisdom within yourself. So you become that embodiment of heaven and earth. You become a sacred temple that is in this beautiful space of ritual. And this can also be called consecration. So this offering is a consecration. You are offering your premenopause, you're offering your menopause, you're offering your blood, you're offering the different cycles of your life. Say if you're coming from maiden, lover, maiden, mother, crone, whatever, you're honoring and holding like a sacred ceremony to consecrate that process, consecrating your day and everything that you do with the sacred is what is going to transform your relationship with your womb, your relationship with others around you, your relationship to life, to creation itself. Because you will start to feel the palpable sensation of sacred energy coming out through everything that you do, and whatever you're connecting to becomes interwoven with that sacred energy, because you are creating that for yourself. It doesn't just happen. We have to be intentional, because life isn't always leading in that notion and in that vibration. If we look at what's happening in the world, we have lost the sacredness in many things. We go into very medicalized situations, we go into work environments where you get on your desk and you sit down and you're in your desk and you start your work. What if you consecrated and offered your day at work to the divine, to the beloved, or to something that really resonates with your heart and with divine love? What should change? What should shift? So again, this is something we're going to be going really deep into each of these sections and somatically feeling and sensing and experiencing this in our womb initiation, I highly recommend that you come and join, because there are certain things that one must experience through their body, right? And as a woman with a womb, you really want to know what's wisdom is lying within yourself, not just the information that I'm outputting, because that's where the real wisdom lies. So I'd love to have you there. I hope that you've enjoyed this and you got a little taste of how we integrate and how we create more connection and more love and wholeness with our bodies and with our womb space. And I look forward to seeing you all at the womb initiation on the 12th of February. But like I said, if you are watching this on a replay, there'll be a catch up, or you may want to look on the website for events and see what else is going on, because more than likely we have weekly, monthly, different events. I run sister circles, womb dance classes, and the membership, which has a whole portal of lots of different things. And I do like to run these womb initiations quite often. And not only that, but you can work with me one-on-one, so even better. All right, my loves, thank you, and I'll see you all very soon.